friends are here today with a new friend of mine, Amy Jerica. Amy and I met when she invited me to come down and speak to the Burleson County birthday party.
Yep.
And we became fast friends, and I discovered she has an intense Czech background. And so we're plugging into her family, into her recipe repertoire that she has from her family, and we are actually here in the Czech Museum and Heritage.
Yes, the Burleson County Czech Heritage Museum.
There we go. Thank you for saying it the
Yeah,
right way,
of
Amy.
course.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Really
It's my
appreciate
honor.
it.
It's my honor.
And I had shared with Amy that I had this fabulous soup. We had gone to a dance, there was a potluck, and somebody had brought sauerkraut soup, and I'd never had it, and it was amazing.
Yummy.
So that's what we're making today. It is a very Czech dish, and soup is something that's very important to the Czech heritage. Would you like to tell everybody
so
about that?
What I'd like to do is start by saying Jak se máš, which is how are you doing in Czech. And so we're here in Caldwell, Texas, at the Czech Museum, and it's so exciting that you discovered sauerkraut soup a fun new different thing that people don't normally think of when they think about Czech cuisine. Usually you're thinking about kolaches, which are also very tasty and delicious. But yeah, so sauerkraut soup. We've got a lot of things here to cook with, and but maybe another little vocabulary lesson about the word for soup in Czech,
And that is
poletka.
Poletka.
Yes.
And you were telling me earlier that in the Czech Republic, that most meals start with soup, because we all have to think about they're at a different latitude than what we are here in Texas.
Right.
So it's very cold there. And also it's a way for people to take whatever they have on hand and to use it.
Yeah. Well, and it can feed a whole lot more people,
Can
right?
feed a
It
lot
goes
of
a lot further than having to have a piece of steak for every person at the table.
Which is not as readily available there.
Right.
So when they came from the old country, this was something they brought. So we have bacon that is cooking right now.
Wish you could smell it.
Yeah, it smells really good. And so we're starting with bacon, and then we're gonna let that kind of get some of the, of the grease out of it, so that we can add the onions, you said?
You know, and I think it's also noteworthy that for me to tell you that you're using the cast iron skillet and the wooden spoon that belong to one of my two Czech grandmothers. Both were Czech, and so we're using even authentic things to cook with this
family
Czech recipe. So yeah, we're letting the bacon kind of get going, and we're going to add some onion.
Okay. So we'll get this onion going in here. And this would be a good time. This is a cookbook.
Yeah.
You'd like to hold that up?
Sure.
The museum was founded, you were telling me, in 1993.
Yep.
Correct.
Right.
And your mom was one of the founders of the museum.
Helen Jerica was one of the founders. The community members here in Caldwell discovered kind of this renewed interest about their Czech heritage after the Velvet Revolution of 1989, when the Czechs came out of communism. A lot of our community leaders who are Czech heritage. Okay,
So we have the bacon in here. We've added the onions. The onions look really nice.
You can see it steaming.
Yeah, you can see it steaming. Let me see if I can show everybody what this looks like.
Yeah.
All right, and now you're getting ready to add some sausage.
Yes.
And this is
Slovakia
sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah, from
Snook.
from Snook,
Made
is
here
where they're
in
located.
Burleson County.
So
Yep.
this is a good Texas sausage. And are they Czech as well?
Slovakia is a Czech last name. Some other people in Texas may say Slovacek, but Slovakia, both same group.
Same group,
Same people.
And I'm assuming they're doing the sausage probably originally in the original Czech method.
You know, I'm sure they tried that they can, but it's pretty readily available in grocery stores, so I'm sure it's a little bit different. But
commercialized.
Oh yeah, we remember our grandpa smoking. We'd butcher the hogs, and they would smoke the sausage for a whole day in the shop or in the smokehouse, and we couldn't wait to have the
Hanging by wires, are they
fresh
hanging by wires in the smokehouse?
Yes, yes. So, along with the bacon. We're frying the bacon for this too, and the Czech word for bacon is špek. Špek. And so even a lot of times in the Czech Republic, they'll just take the smoked bacon and slice it and eat it just like that. Like you don't even have to cook it, because it's really already smoked.
It's really already smoked, right, which this is too. But this is getting a nice little brown tinge on it. So
That's going to make it
it's
so
gonna bring
much
out some flavor.
tastier in the soup. That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the building we're in is called
The Burleson County Czech Heritage Museum, and then this is the carriage house that's part of the museum.
It's part of the museum. Okay.
Built in the mid-90s after the museum was formed in 93. And so, like I was saying, a lot of the community members, Czech community members, wanted to come together and have this resurgence of interest in our Czech culture and heritage here in the county, because Czech immigration really was important to our county's history and economy, and you can drive anywhere here in Caldwell today, you'll still see a lot of Czech influence.
Czech names.
With the last names, right.
Okay.
So move that for now, and then work on the other side of the soup, which includes the potatoes and the milk and the cream and all that good part. So,
Okay, so we have removed the frying pan that has the onion and the sausage and the bacon in it, and now we're going to prepare the potato part of the soup.
Right. So the thing about the Czech soups are they all are made with the things that they have readily available. And so when you look at any Czech menu, any Czech restaurant, any Czech home here in Caldwell, but one of the first things that you're going to see that they're going to use are potatoes. So that's what we have here. Our
Potatoes are readily available and something that doesn't cost very much, and most people can have it in their gardens, and they preserve well.
Yeah, and I mean it's just kind of one of those basics of any meal, and so now it's going to be kind of the basis of this soup.
Okay,
So
we have some potatoes
Yep.
in here, and now you're going to mash them. You had them already cut up into about 1.5 inch pieces, I would say.
little cubes.
Uh-huh.
And so I did boil them a little bit, so they're already kind of ready for us. And using the babička's potato masher. Babička is grandma for Czech, remember?
That's right.
We're just kind of not completely crushing them, but just giving them a little bit of a mash so that they make the basis of the soup.
And I thought it was cute. You said that your daughter called her grandmother Bobby for short.
That's right. That's
I
right.
love that.
She was Bobby, and it was sure easy for her to say when she was little.
That-
That was like her third word to say. was
Yeah,
Bobby.
another good reason. Okay, and now you're going to add some
So-
milk, it looks like.
Yes, and so this is 2 cups of milk, but you could also, if you wanted to make it really amazing, you could use cream.
Oh,
One of the ingredients for this recipe that we're following, and by the way, this recipe is from a local man, Dave Schoeneman, who lots of people in Caldwell know. He had a processing plant and is an amazing cook. And even today still sells a seasoning called Dave's Secret Seasoning, and was really good friends with Mr. George Slavinka that helped us with the museum, building this building that we're in, the carriage house. In fact, it's called the George Slavinka Carriage House. So Mr. George and Mr. Dave were good friends, and so we're using Dave's sauerkraut soup recipe. So when I was reading Dave's recipe, I saw that he was listing the ingredients. And so we've been very measured with like 3 potatoes, 2 cups of milk. But when it came to this ingredient, it reminded me of so much of what my grandma used to say. And instead of saying a measurement, it just said some sour cream.
so it's probably according to taste.
It's according to taste and how it looks. So for me, I think some sour cream is going to be about 2 big heaping tablespoons.
That's probably about, for those of you who are gonna make this, I would say that it's about maybe a half a cup almost.
Okay.
Between a third and a half a cup.
And then, how could anything be anything but tasty and delicious if it has a whole stick
Butter.
of butter?
Of course. And there again, probably most people have their own cow and they've had their own meal and they made their own butter. Okay, we here at Czech Simmering, we love it when a moment arrives. And this moment arrived, walked right in the door. This is Zach Skyby. Did I say it correctly? And he is has self-taught the Czech language. So he's going to say something for us. So
Jak se máš?
Dobře, jak ty?
Já mi velmi dobře. A jak vy? Dobře?
I
You
guess
good?
so.
Tak fajn. Ona vaří kyselé zelí pro nás. She's making sauerkraut soup for us. Dobrokut. Já cítím velmi dobře. It smells good. It smells good. To vypadá velmi dobře. It looks good.
Oh.
Jo. Jenom já si přeju pivo. I only wish for beer now. So.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much. You go have a beer and thank you so much for coming by and saying hi.
Děkuju.
You were like the icing on our cake today.
Prosím.
Or the sauerkraut on the soup or something.
Zní to dobře.
Thank you so much.
Ahoj, nashledanou.
Perfect.
Back to the
I mean,
soup.
how do we get
How do
better
we
than
top
that?
that? I don't know. We
I
can't
think
do better than
I think
that.
that what we have to do is open
The main agreement.
homemade sauerkraut. So
And you found the sauerkraut from somebody who actually
grew the
made it,
cabbage.
grew the
Grew
cabbage.
the cabbage. Sauerkraut's made from cabbage. In Snook, Texas, it's Nicole and BJ Hale. This is their homemade sauerkraut, procured this season, so like the other day. And so what a treat it is indeed to have the sauerkraut. The recipe calls for a pint of sauerkraut.
Okay.
So this
This
is
is a
clearly
quart.
a quart. So we'll
Right.
use about half. of
Oh,
this.
okay.
So here we go.
And how many does this particular recipe serve typically?
Oh gosh. Guess
Would you
it
say it's
depends
like
on how hardy
separate, or-
the eaters are.
There you go. That's a big part of anything.
What's interesting about this soup is it's always better the next day.
You know if they had this in a crock? Did they do the crock method?
Yes,
They
yes,
did.
they
Okay.
did. They did.
So it's put in a crock. Do you know how long it's in a crock?
That I do not know.
All right, we'll find that out for all of y'all if you really want to.
Because it has to sour.
It has to sour, that's right. We still have my grandmother's crock that
Oh,
she
wow.
made the sauerkraut in. It's
Wow.
upstairs in the attic.
The recipe also calls for 1 or 2 cloves of garlic, and so I am using some garlic that's already been minced and ready to pop in there. But of course, if it was fresh minced, that would be even better. So yeah, so this is really coming together real nicely, I think.
Beautiful, and it's
The
nice and thick.
Next step is
Oh.
going to be to add that meat, that
Aha,
sausage,
this
and that
we
bacon.
made a while ago.
Yep.
Okay. Everything's better with bacon and sausage.
I'm gonna get a little aggressive with it, so come on now. God, if any of our Czech grandmas were here, they would make sure that we got every little piece of onion and bacon out, because we don't waste
a
anything.
thing.
The Czechs had some kind of standard things. Of course, we're gonna have some salt and pepper, so I'll just let you help me, and we'll just put a little to
Now,
taste.
how much? Just kind of.
The recipe says to taste, so I think it just depends again.
Sprinkle a little bit in there
That's what we know about getting those old recipes is they didn't really always say how much.
And many recipes still say salt and pepper to taste, so that's really not too unusual for salt and pepper at least.
A couple of peppercorns. So the recipe says
Okay.
4, so I'll put in, that looks like a few more than 4, but some peppercorns. It does also call for some MSG, which isn't something people are normally cooking with, but it is a flavor enhancer. So we'll put just a tiny bit of that. And then this last seasoning that the recipe calls for, and a lot of Czech recipes have this majorum. And so I think it actually does tell me how much to put. It says it 1 tablespoon.
Oh, okay, that's helpful. That's quite a bit.
We don't have to guess on that one.
Yeah.
It says 1 tablespoon. And you'll see it will kind of color up the soup. Lastly is 1 bay leaf. Which of course we'll take out.
Definitely.
before we serve.
Always, we'll do a little side commercial here. Anytime you cook with a bay leaf, which they add so much flavor, make sure that you count the number of bay leaves you put in and you take out that number of bay leaves. So we're ready to try it. It smells so good. Yum.
Almost like Christmas, right?
Yeah, almost like Christmas. What's this going to be? And this is your grandmother's
Yes,
bowl.
like
That's
Grandma
so
Eureka's
fun.
bowls and my
love
other
that.
grandmother ladle. So we're just really
We
using
are really using the family items. Okay, now what is?
your sauerkraut hanging?
Okay, so the saying is before you have a bite.
Yeah, Zach was just saying it. Dobra hut.
Dobre hut.
So it's sort of meaning enjoy your food, good appetite.
And good appetite.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, here we go. Wow.
That homemade sauerkraut really is.
Amy, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much, Amy. I so appreciate you doing this with me and sharing your family's recipe and your family's culture. It's been so enlightening, and I think everybody has enjoyed and will enjoy taking this forward and just having a little bit of Czech culture in their life. We have a tradition at Texicurians that once we cook together, you're a Texicurian, and this is for you.
So honored.
Oh, thank you.
Love it, love it.
Now we are in the actual museum part of the Czech heritage here in Caldwell, Texas. And Amy, we're standing in front of a wood-burning stove. Fortunately, we didn't have to cook on that
Thank
today. It would have been
goodness,
a little hot.
Not about that.
And Amy, I'd love for you to tell me about this cookbook. The museum was founded in 1993. About, what, 2 years later, this cookbook
Yeah.
came out. And
So this cookbook, it just says Czech cookbook. Can't buy them anywhere anymore, but the membership got together and they were trying to capture and revive the old recipes, and a committee was formed, of course, a cookbook committee, and they gathered these recipes that reflect a lot of the Czech heritage. You know, I mean, you do such a good job of explaining that with all the different cultures about how the food reflects the people's heritage. And so when you look closely, you see the different chapters, which of course the first is kolach.
it wouldn't be a Czech cookbook without kolaches in it.
And then you go on and you see soup, which our sauerkraut soup recipe came from. But then there's also dumplings, which is also another entree that you have in a lot of Czech meals. There's desserts, appetizers, vegetables, and then the whole miscellaneous. And so I always like to look and see what's in miscellaneous, because I would suspect that the Czechs had some good miscellaneous items included in their cookbook.
Maybe there's some advice in there.
Well, advice, and then even examples of some Czech language. How to say please, prosím. Zach said that a while ago when he was talking. Děkuji, thank you. Ano, děkuji, I know, thank you very much, yes. So, I mean, it's a great book for its recipes, but it also has a lot of history and culture in it. And so I'm honored that we were able to cook from it today, and paying honor to those members that had the foresight to have our museum, to collect these recipes so that we could share them with your viewers.
I'm so glad to. And we found something when we came over here.
Oh, yeah.
We found a kraut cutter. And so this would be the very beginning of the sauerkraut. You would take the cabbage, and it looks like you would put it in here.
Right.
Basically, this is a mandolin.
Yeah.
And just push it in, and then take this up and bring it down and cut cut it. So I almost think that's almost a two-man job.
I think so.
If you are on Old Highway 21, it goes right through Caldwell.
Yeah.
Definitely make a little stop here at the museum. You'll be glad you did.